today we will be continuing our series on how to prepare for a professional licensing or board exam. Okay, so get ready. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you, and if you're old, thank you for sticking with me. So today we will be continuing our series on preparing for a professional exam, like said before, and I will just be going straight into it. So our first point for today would be a study plan. So one thing I forgot to mention in the video last week was, for your study plan, you should set daily, weekly goals, or even monthly goals. So I would say weekly and monthly goals, just to keep things concise, because daily goals might be a bit too much. So you can have a specific daily goal of maybe studying 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day or 5 hours a day specifically for the exam. But I would recommend using apps like Notion to set a weekly or monthly study goal that helps you stay on track. So you know when okay, maybe I'm behind on my goals, maybe I need to put in more time, so having daily or weekly goals just really helps. It really just helps keep you on track, on top of what you are doing, right, on top of the content you plan to revise before the exam date. So another thing I will be talking about for study plan today is, make sure you schedule time for revising. So revising is really, really important. So in your study plan, it shouldn't just be going over the content. So your study plan shouldn't just focus on going over the content from the beginning to the end of the plan. You should have time for revising at least twice, recommended twice, depending on the time you have before the exam, but recommended at least twice before the exam. So after going over the content the first time, you go over it again a second time and a third time before the exam, right? So schedule your study plan in that fashion, right? So that gives you time to revise at least twice before the exam date. And then the next point would be, take advantage of past questions and answers. This is such an important point, guys. I can't even I can't stress how important this point is. Past questions and answers are so underrated. Like, they give you a sense of having past questions. Besides the fact that some questions on past questions are actually repeated. So in an exam like the WAEC, I'm not sure about JAM, but I took the WAEC exam, and I can assure you that some questions on the WAEC exam are repeated. So besides the fact that they're repeated, you cannot rely on the fact that they're repeated, because honestly, it's just like 1 or 2 questions that are repeated. So you cannot rely on that. But besides the fact that they are repeated, there's also the fact that using past questions gives you an idea of what the questions are like. So it gives you an idea of, okay, this is the nature of questions, this is how they structure the questions. So when you're studying, you study with that structure, you study with that idea in mind. You know, okay, so this is how they would put this question, this is how they would set this question. So in one of my videos, I will link it above. In one of my videos, I talked about how while studying, so while revising, you should try to formulate questions by yourself. So that is the whole point of these past questions. They help you formulate questions for yourself that are similar to the questions that would be on the exam. And honestly, that is like top tier study technique. Like, guys, I'm giving you like that is like my one of my biggest study techniques, like formulating questions for yourself. Like, you'll be surprised that the questions you formulate for yourself, based on the structure of the questions you have seen in the past questions, they would actually come out in the exam. You would be so shocked. Like, you literally be like, oh my goodness, I should be an examiner at this point. But that's the importance of past questions. They are so important, past questions and answers, because some exams, exams have different testing styles. There are different question styles. So using past question and answers helps you get familiar with the exam testing style. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm saying, does that make sense? Like you guys are here with me right now. That's so funny. Anyways, okay, I'm actually having so much fun making these videos. Like I feel like I'm chatting with you guys and it makes me so happy. Okay, next thing would be use mnemonics. So mnemonics, forgotten what they are called. I'm forgotten another name, but like mnemonics, so short forms, right? Like let's say Mr. Niger for characteristics of living things like movement, reproduction, so things like that. So using mnemonics, if there is something you have to memorize, something you have to know, something you have to cram. I don't like using the word cram, but if there's something you have to cram, you can use mnemonics to make your job easier. And then you can also use visual aids like flashcards. I know some people, I've seen some people say that, oh, don't waste your time on flashcards. Personally, I don't use flashcards to study. I've never tried them. But I've heard a lot of people recommend them for the MCAT. So maybe I would like try them, but I've heard that they are really helpful. So you can try it out and see if it works for you. Personally, what works for me is studying on my um tablet and underlining or highlighting the important things. So the things that I would write on a flashcard, on my notes, on my slides in my tablet, I would highlight them or underline them. And then when I'm going over, I just go over those things. That's what works for me. But I've heard really good stuff about flashcards, so you can try them out. They are really helpful. One good thing about flashcards is that you can carry them around, and then even while you're on the bus or while you're at a doctor's appointment waiting for your appointment, you can just quickly be going over them. It's also a form of revision. So I really see the hype behind flashcards. I really understand it. I think they are worth the try. I've just never tried them, but I really think they are worth the try. um so the next thing I would say, so for professional and licensing exams, so professional and licensing exams are not like school exams where your teacher gives you slides and then expects you to be able to answer questions from the slides. These exams, they do not necessarily test your memorization skills. They test your understanding skills. Most of them test your understanding, not your memorization skills. So I would say focus on understanding the concepts, focus on understanding the concepts. So even if you're asked to write, I'm not sure, I don't know if any any licensing. I feel like a few professional exams have long answer questions, very few of them, but still focus on understanding, because when you understand the concepts, even if the question is turned around, like turned, even if it's flipped upside down, you would be able to recognize it and still like understand it and apply logic to answer it, right? So I would say, as much as there are things you should memorize, like let's say um the periodic table, or um some organic like elements, the chemical name for different elements. There are things you should memorize, but focus also, try to put in more work towards understanding instead of just memorizing and memorizing and memorizing, right? And then the next point would be prioritize your weakest subjects. So in last week's video, I talked about doing a diagnostic test to get a sense of your strengths and weaknesses. So after doing that test, or some people don't even need a test to know their strengths or weaknesses. Some people just know that math is my problem. Some people just know that math is the bane of my existence. Some people also just know that chemistry is like my Achilles heel. Some people just know that physics is the problem of their lives. So some people don't need a diagnostic test to know that. But I'll say prioritize your weaknesses. So devote more time, and this draws back to time management. So guys, if you haven't seen my video on how to maintain straight A study tips, I would strongly recommend that you go watch that video. Although it's not for professional exam, but it just gives you an overall sense of how to study while balancing other aspects of your life, like working, volunteering, family, and all of that. So I would strongly recommend that you watch it. I will also link it above. And then yeah, so really prioritize your weakest subjects. Time management, I feel like this really goes back to time management. So time management, prioritize your weakest subjects. Make out more time for your weakest subjects. Let's say if your exam has 5 subjects and you plan to study one for each day of the week, or two per day of the week, maybe for your weakest subjects, maybe for your weakest subjects you could study um them like twice a week. So if you study every other subject once a week, you could study your weakest subject twice a week. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on that any further. So the next thing would be stay positive. Oh my goodness, guys, I know it's not easy. Like sometimes you would have, okay, that was me during my WAEC exam. Like you would really want to just have fun. You really, like, you see others having fun, you see your friends going out, and there's no, like, this is not to say that during exams you can't go out, anything like that, but we all know that during exams we don't have that much free time. Like there are things you would want to do when, like, instead of studying. So you would, let's say that time you're using to study, you would want to use it to watch a movie or to go hang out with your friends. But I just want to tell you that delayed gratification really pays off. Suffer now to play later, and play now to suffer later. I want you to keep in mind that it's only for a while. It's only for 6 months, it's only for 3 months, and after 3 months, you're done, right? So just delay all that gratification. And I know it's not easy, but have a community that also helps you as well. I mentioned that in my previous video. Have a community that helps you, but just keep in mind that it's delayed gratification. And delayed gratification, it's not um like, you are not losing it, you are not missing out, you are just delaying it. You are delaying it until after your exam. You are not missing out on it, you are just delaying it. It's called delayed gratification for a reason. So just stay positive, be positive, tell yourself that, like, it is, I am so blessed. Like, there are people that would want to take this exam, but they cannot take it, maybe because they don't have the money to afford it, they don't have a family that supports them, they don't have a community that supports them. There are people that would want to be on this. Like, if you're taking the NCLEX, you made it through nursing school. There are people that started nursing school and they couldn't make it to the end. There are people that wanted to get into nursing, and they couldn't even get into nursing. So people were not even admitted, they were not even given the opportunity to study it in the first place. I don't know what that sound is. So people were not even given the opportunity to study it in the first place. So I need you to stay positive. It's a privilege to take this it's a privilege. My Nigerian accent is kicking in. It's a privilege to take this exam. You are not suffering. You are on the path to achieving your goals. You are on the path to becoming a doctor. You are on the path to becoming a registered nurse. Like, another thing I would say is, you can get, it really helps to be able to visualize where you're getting to, or where you're going to, rather. So you can get a picture of maybe yourself as a nurse, or maybe like a Pinterest picture of a nurse, so something like a vision board, and you can paste it somewhere in your room where you can see it every day, and let that be a constant reminder of where you're going to. If you're taking the MCAT, you can get a picture of yourself as a doctor, or yourself in medical school, or a picture of the medical school, or the logo of the medical school you want to get into, and put it on your room, paste it in your room somewhere, and let that be a constant source of motivation for you. You are not suffering, you are just working hard towards your dreams. And it's a privilege to be working hard towards your dreams. It's a privilege to be able to dream. Like, it's a privilege to be able to dream and actually work towards that dream. Some people dream, but they are not able to work towards that dream. Like, let's not even talk about the people that are not even given the opportunity to go to school, right? But we are blessed enough to dream and even work towards that dream. We are not suffering. We can't count that as suffering, right? So I want you to always stay positive, stay positive, stay positive, stay positive. Okay, it will really help with shifting your mind, helping you with concentration, helping you with focus, helping you stay motivated as well. So stay positive, okay? And then the last thing I want to talk about today is pray about it. So there's a place for hard work, there's a place for smart work, because I would always choose working smart over working hard. But then you must put in the work. Definitely you must put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you are going to fail. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you don't put in the work, you are going to fail. I'm sorry to burst your bubbles, but if you don't put in the work, you are not, it's not going to be nice, right? So there's always a place for putting in the work. There is a place for getting ready for the exam. But then there's also a place for grace, for the grace of God, for the grace and the mercy of God, right? So do not leave God out of the equation. Do not leave God out of the equation. It is Him that gives us the grace to remember what we have studied. Some people study so hard, some people study for months, and because of fear, they go into the exam hall and they blank out. Some people fall sick before the exam day, and after studying for 6 months, they are unable to take the exam. Like, at the end of the day, there are so many things that we cannot control. That's why we need to rely on God to help us get through it successfully. There are so many things in this world that are beyond our control. Some people get ready for the exam, and on the exam day they end up oversleeping. Like, you will not even believe the things that happen to people. So at the end of the day, we depend on God to help us, right? So do not leave God out of the equation. Do not leave God. You cannot do it without God. Make sure you pray about it. Like, even while studying, keep praying about it. Ask God to help you. Ask Him if there's anything you are not seeing, if there's anything you are missing, that He should help you remember it. And you'll be surprised how much you'll be able to achieve, right? So do not leave God out of it. He is able to keep you motivated. He is able to show you the places to study. He is able to help you remember the things you studied. So do not leave God out of the equation, okay? And that's the end of today's video. I'll see you guys in the next video. In our next video, we'll be talking about exam day. So we have prepared 6 months, 3 months, we have prepared, and now it's exam day, right? So I'll see you guys in the next video. In the meantime, take care. I love you. Bye bye.